Hey, hello everybody. So I'm going to paint an eye, but in the end you'll see me do more. So if you look at what I did first, I did a pencil drawing on a raw canvas, and then I threw a tone mixed with a lot of mineral spirits and used my paper towel to wipe it down. There I'm getting a lighter mid-tone, actually what I would consider like almost an average light on his skin tone. I did lose a lot of the drawing, it wiped it out, so I just grab a brush and I sit there and I redraw everything. And because I'm oil painting and using a brush, sometimes for me, I get a little more accurate drawing when I do it this way. I decided to wipe that out and start the eye a little higher. Do whatever I want. I'm the artist. I just want accuracy in my drawing. And overall, I'm just squinting down. And if you squint at the photo reference, all I'm just doing is the graphic shadow shape. And that includes the dark of the eye. Sometimes things, their local color is dark, and it actually is the same value as the shadow, or very close. Just add them in as one big shape. Because as I squint at this, I see one value for all the darks, and it's very close to the hair if you squint way down. And then I see another value for the shawl, which is very light, and everything else is a mid-tone. Okay? And also the background, if you squint way down, it's pretty dark. Even though it has a lot of more chroma, it's pretty dark. But as you can see, I'm drawing right now. I'm trying to get accurate. As I look at it, I see some mistakes already, and that I'll have to correct them. And especially on the left side of the face. I think he's too wide. I think his eye is a little bit too low. I think his left eye is sitting up higher. Okay? There I go. I start to fix that. Always fixing my drawing. Always working on my drawing. There, I'm taking a look at it. Always looking. Now I'm getting in the first dark. What I'm painting here is similar to shape. And I guess you would say that, but I don't try to go to finish. I try to get as accurate as I can, right, as I look at it. And I go from there. So I'm mixing colors and getting my darks in, still sticking to my darks, my graphic dark. I call that the Colonel Sanders. If you look at the logo, that's a painting right there. It's just very hard edge and graphic. All right, so I got my first bit of drawing down. And now I'm putting the whites of the eyes in. Now, all I had to do is squint down and compare the value of the whites of the eyes to the iris, which is the color part of the eyes. And I could see that it's not that much brighter. Like, look at how white the shaw is, especially on the left side and on the top and the bottom right. It's close. It's close to white. Not white, but it's close. But those whites of the eyes aren't anywhere near that. They're very dark. They're a mid-tone, that 5 value. They're around there. And the reason why it looks light next to those darks is through contrast, relationships, relativity, how they relate to each other. Now, I'm trying to go with my first correct guess. Not only first, but trying to make it as correct as I can. And then later on, I'll correct it. And you'll see I'll just keep going, and I won't go back and correct it right away. I get some more down so I could really see where I have to correct things. And this is taking some time here, just putting down little shifts of color. It's fun to do. Now I'm putting in the blue of his eyes. That bottom portion of his eyes, because of the way the anatomy of the eyes and the way it's concave with the lens on top, the bottom part catches light, and the highlight is on top, but that highlight is going through the lens and hitting the concave part of the opposite from the opposite side of the highlight, and it lights it up. And that's what makes the blue the lighter blue. And there I'm putting a little catch light in his upper lid. Now, even though we call it, I wouldn't call it catch light, but there's a little bit of light there, lighter value. It's still in the dark family, but it's lighter, right? Now, as you look at the reference in the final painting as we get there, you'll see I interpreted this. And that's the way I like to paint. I just have no desire to copy a photo. I think you should if you're learning, but for me, I just can't. I can't even do it anymore. It's heartbreaking. Okay. Working on the highlight in the eyes will get lighter. We'll see, and I'm sure it's going to get lighter. That's the catch light on the lower lid. If you squint down, even that's not as light as you think it is. It's surrounded by darks, including the lower part of the dark part of the lid. Softening some edges, putting some values down. I mean, if you don't get the right color, at least try to get the right temperature with, most importantly, the right value. And your painting will be great for it. Always think of your painting as great and that it can only get greater. Okay? But don't fall in love with your painting. Even though I say great, that doesn't mean it's, we were trying to stay positive. That doesn't mean it's great. Now you saw how I went a little lighter with the highlight. So it's not just one light mark. There's a couple, sometimes three, in different colors and different temperatures. Put in the dark of the lower lid. Keeping things soft. Now you can see I'm painting in real time there. I'm not going very fast. And it's not even about the values. I'm just doing the dark value. Okay, see how those values, if you squint down, they're closer to black, right, than a midtone. So even if they are a lighter value than black, they're still closer to the value of black. And some of them, as they get away towards the light, they start to become a midtone value, like a 5. And the lights are the wash of the canvas. And you'll see as I go on, I start to put a lot of crazy colors in this painting. But it still works because I got the values. Now, I think I went a little bit too dark there, but that's my first guess. Go with your first guess and then correct it. Try to get it as correct as you can. You can see I'm starting to gray it out and lighten it a little bit. But I'm also comparing that to the darks that I have in there. There we go, just building it up, one brush stroke at a time. Some people might call this tiling. Even though I do put these tiles of color down, I will blend them. It depends. Depends on the person. If it's a soft, young lady, you want to blend things a little bit. But he's kind of a rougher guy, even though he has very nice smooth skin. I could leave it a little broken because the beard says a lot, And also the story told is he has this beard, the bandana, a shawl. He's from another time, right? A time where things were harder. So probably anything before 1955. Excuse me. Now I'm getting the top portion of the not the lid, but of the brow. Actually, that's the lower part of the brow to the middle. And as the eye comes out, the brow starts to curve up towards the lights, right? Now, even though I'm going a little lighter, it's still within the family of darks there. And eventually I will get darker. You'll see it. Oh, it's so much fun. There we go. See how I blended some things together there? Now I know I have the photo reference there, and you're looking at the painting. Am I being exact? I'm being exact with my creativity. You could do that too, but get close to the values that are there. It'll work. I recommend putting a tone down. I don't usually put a tone down, but for my finished paintings, I do. My more finished paintings, I'll have a very light value washed over. And it just helps speeds things up and makes decisions better with what values you need to use. Now I'm starting to go into the light family. Putting some lights in. Now that's more of a half tone. a dark halftone leading up to the lights and then to the shadows. And you can see it on his brow. Oh, went a little brighter. Notice those highlights? They just bring life to the painting. Life. So his left eye is a little higher than his right. That means also his nose is that way and his mouth. And you can see it. If you bring horizontals across on the face, you'll see that things aren't even. They're not flat. They're even, but they're at an angle. See, I'm not going that fast. I'm just building up that area. And this is another form of shape to shape. Now I haven't moved to the other eye or the nose. I may do that because I'm not doing a strict shape to shape, but we'll see. Working on that light that's on the upper lid. It's lit, but it's not that bright. It's not that light. Being very delicate. I'm using a small brush. I'm using I don't know if it's a rosemary or Langnickel. It looks like rosemary because it's black. I can't tell right now. Either way, it doesn't even matter what brush you use. You could apply the paint any way you want as long as you get, to me, good values, good edges, temperatures. Color is not way down the list, you know. And also the way I compose this is more important than the colors. Now you notice I'm taking my time, but I could stop right here and I would be happy with it, just this eye. And I know this, I said this might be a eye painting, but it's more than that. There's more to this than just the eye. I'll do both eyes, the nose, and the beard, and you'll see the softness. There, now we're going into the lights. I am using a bigger brush. That's a rosemary white, synthetic white. Ooh, I think that's a little bit too cold and errant. Going a little bit, now I'm in the keystone, the space in between the eyes. I'm going cooler because of the bone there, but we'll warm some of that up. Some people say that gets a little ochre too, and that's the coolness compared to the warmth that's above it. And sometimes, like that mark I put down, the reason why I did that, it's more drawing than it is painting. Now that's painting. But as you can see, I'm going a little bit too dark. And I may keep it that way. Soft edge there because we're in the cartilage area. Now we're getting darker. That's more of the shadow value. Now you're saying, why are his eyes darker than the shadows on the side of his face? Why are the shadows around his eyes darker? Because they're turned more away from the light and they're receiving less bounce light. So the side of his face on the right is just receiving more light around it. So light's hitting, say, the shawl and bouncing in there. Or there might be some other lights on that are feeding it and making it just a little bit lighter. But it holds together and still holds the form for the facial structure. If you need to learn the planes, and I'm thinking about just planes. If you need to learn the planes, look up John Asaro. You can either buy the planes of the head, and I recommend the plastic one. It's the cheapest, but also durable because you will drop that many times. The other one's made of plaster, the original, and or you could just buy one of the other versions. It's similar, or there's plenty of photographs of the Asaro head online. Just take that, study it, and draw it. I have several type, but to me, I always go back to the Asaro planes of the head. There you go. Now I'm starting to lighten that area up a little bit. It's all not one value. This is so much fun for me. It's almost like I'm building a puzzle, but I'm creating also the pieces, and I'm putting them in where they have to fit. And if they don't fit, then I have to change it. So we're just sticking around the eye. I think that's a pretty good eye. It's very expressive. We're putting some light down. Now, that part of his cheekbone, if I'm doing shape to shape, should be more highlight value. Now, you could see that light next to that dark is too strong, so there needs to be a mid-tone between there, or I might even just blend it. Let's see. Ooh, I'm going lighter. I think that's a little bit too much, pushing it too much, but I'm testing it. There's a hesitation because I'm looking at it. Now, if you make somebody look too shiny, they start to look greasy and dirty, right? So you want to watch your highlights. You don't want to get too intense. But if I'm getting some good color on this, sometimes you can get away with it. And I'm trying to bring the attention to that eye, even though I get more on the face. Now I'm warming up some areas. Sorry, guys, this is fun for me. Building up the lights. Notice, see how close in value they are to that wash, or they're just a little bit darker, some of them. Now, even though I'm going that light, that doesn't mean I'm going to keep it. I'm most likely going to go into it. He is darker on the left side of the nose, but I know I'm going to make it lighter. Adding lights. Always constantly checking those lights. Going a little darker there. As you can see, I'm really interpreting this photo. He has no eyebrows. I mean, he has that hair that's really light, subtle. You don't really see it. But there's a color there. And I got a little bit of it. For me, I made it a little bit more of a green, yellow green, ochre green. Now I'm getting that plane before where it turns. It's going to be softer there. But I have to if I put it in with a harder edge, I know it has to be softer. I'm trying to be as accurate as I can, but I'm also trying to be as creative. I can't just sit there and do. I can't just sit there and just follow the reference. Now I just measured that part of the nose. How low does it become? How low is it below the eye? So that's why I started below the eye, because I could eyeball it and see, okay, it's that low. So his nose is there. And that's the dark. And you notice that dark, I went a little higher because that side of the face is higher up. Now, I didn't do a full drawing under this. If I did, I wouldn't be making, I could actually go faster because the drawings, it's almost like filling the numbers. Just fill it in, just the right values and temperatures with the right edges. If you get the right value, the values correct, you're going to get the right edges. Okay, it's very hard to do, even though we say that. Just kind of squint down and really see what those edges are doing. And just as you squint down and compare your values, squint down and compare your edges. Compare one edge to the other. I mean, even if you squint down at his nose, the shadow on his nose, the left side looks harder than the right side. You see that? Squint down lightly. And sometimes if you have to squint down with one eye, you squint down with one eye. I enjoyed painting this quite a bit. I mean, if you look at the reference, the best part about him is his face, the beard, the costume. But with the flesh color, it's just needs more. Needs more. I'm telling a story. I'm trying to. That's the cool that's on the edge of where the dark meets the light. And that's kind of where you see that. It's the cartilage turning under. You do see a little cool there. And and there's a warm, cool, warm thing happening throughout this face. And that's one of the obvious areas. Warm, cool, warm. It's like everything's opposites in paintings. Hard against soft, warm against cool, big against small, straight line against curve line. you know, I mean, even the complementaries in colors, it's the opposite, right? Red with green, or whatever. If you're doing the another color concept, then it's red against an orange blue or something, or an aqua, or whatever they do. So even though I did that eye, I liked the eye for what it was. I wanted to go farther, and I am. I'll put the nose in, the side of the cheek, just making it go farther. Softening some things, that's nice. For me, this is just a good time. There we go. Getting some anatomy in. That's the part of the keystone. The keystone isn't just a flat keystone shape, it has sides. And that's nearest the eye. You see it on this 3/4 view. Head on, less. There's a little bit light reflected onto the soft light onto that lower ear eye bag, the lower bag of the eye. There's a separation of the wing of his nostril from his cheekbone. So I put that down. That's more of a marker, like a drawing marker. Still working on that lower leg. Look how soft it is. You can see I'm too hard right now. I got to soften that area. I'm not going to blend it. I'm going to put little tiles of color down to soften it. I'll use value to soften it. Soft. Keep things soft. See how I made the right side of the nose a little softer than the left? Let's see if I hold on to that. Now, what I'm talking about, how I analyze it when I squint down and look at things, do that before you even touch your canvas. Look at your reference. It doesn't matter if it's from life or from the photo. Sit there and just kind of analyze it before you start touching that canvas with the brush or the pencil, whatever medium. Squint down. Where's the light coming from? What's the local color? What's the values? How could I make this 3 big simple values? Because right now my painting, it's 3 values. 3 values, 4 with the highlights that I have on there. Those are probably going to get darker. There, I'm putting that coolness down there, and I'm sure I'm going to warm the higher part of that. There's the eye. See how I raised it up? Soft. And now you could see where his beard meets the bottom part of his mustache. It's very soft. Hairs are soft. Hairs create a lot of little values, right? Even though they could be 2 separate values very far away with dark hair and very pale skin, that hairline is going to be soft because all the little hairs are creating other values. So more values, softer edge, or closer to the values, the softer the edge. So those more values are just closer to what's around it, creating softer edges. That'll make sense as I'll make a demo about that. Now I'm speeding up, so let's just watch this. Yeah, that's so much fun. See how I'm softening things? The nose got lighter and darker. I put down, now the eye got more compressed because I went too wide. Oh, there we go. So the eye's in the right spot. Added the blue. I went a little bluer with his white of the eye there. But I'm adding some cools on those left side so it goes away. His cheek's a little bit warm. There we go. I just cooled it down. I'm using a different color on the background, not going as mauve-y. There's a little mauve in there, making it blue. I didn't want that to compete with his flesh. Actually, I take that back. That's the dark of his shawl. Sorry, I'm just getting into this, watching this. I'm just moving around the whole painting. Washed in his beard. Notice his beard is dark. Kept it a little brighter. Haven't painted in his bandana yet. We'll see if I do. Trying to keep things soft, especially on that beard. Doing a long-haired synthetic rosemary with the white. I forget what those white bristles. They're nice. Very nice. Darkening some areas there. Ivories. They're ivories. There we go. Making that shadow side a little darker. Touched it with my finger. I love that left eye. Now that I look at it. There's something about it. There's just something about it I like. I use my paper towel to soften some edges. I can do whatever. You do whatever you want as long as it looks great. Cheaters are leaders. Okay, I know people say don't do this, don't do that. Well, you know what? Come on. Come on. You got to do what you got to do. All right? That's how you get your style and your look. And if it's done really well, people are going to love it. Collectors are going to love it. Right? That's all that matters is the collectors. For now. I mean, when you're studying, you have a different mindset, but you can't just think about what other artists like. Don't paint for the artists. Paint for yourself. Don't even paint for the collectors. Just paint for yourself. Paint what you think is true and what you love. You'll find if it's of quality, my art teacher said that if it's of quality and you really love doing it, people are going to catch on. Now, as you're looking at this, cover up the reference with your hand and just look at the painting. Okay, the painting's holding together as just a painting, as just a study. It doesn't have to look like the reference. It has some life to itself. What am I going to do next? See, I'm analyzing it. You can see this downtime. There we go. Now you can see that part of the eye can go over a little bit, but let's see if I soften it and make it maybe a little warmer, or I might keep it gray. Now remember I said that left side of the nose is harder, just made it a little bit harder and warmer, temperature-wise, warmer. Softening that edge there. There's a little bit of firm edges on that bandana, but I don't want them taking away your attention from the eyes. Little finger painting never hurt. That edge usually is soft. A photograph may make it hard, but you know what? That's wrong. If you go by just the photo, that's why it's hard for me to just copy a photo. To sit there and copy it, it's not correct. Okay, it's not the way we see. All right, lower lid there. Touching some things up. Getting a little more light on that left cheek. Separation of light and value there. I'm liking this better. Look at this. This is cool. And once again, cover up the reference and just look at the painting. Put a piece of paper. Cover it up and just look at it as a painting. Creativity. Nothing beats creativity with good sound technique. Not to say this is a masterpiece, but, made me happy to paint it because that's all I cared about, making me happy. Warming some things up where they should be warm. There we go. Darken that just a touch because that's in the shadow side. It's turning away from the light, so it should get a little darker. And this model, he's a very nice guy, but you look at him, you're intimidated. But he's a sweet guy, wonderful man. And but I kind of like his look to be like tough and strong, and so that's why I made him the way he is. Now, one drawing area I think I made his nose a little long. could go up a little bit, but cover up the photo. It's okay. For a study. Darkening that light value there, softening some edges. See, now that I have enough paint on there, I could sit and blend a little bit. Good times. You just keep going and going. Cooling some areas down there. Notice I didn't change the value at all. There I did, right? Oh, I'm bringing it back, but that's a little bit too light. Now I warmed it up again, but I kept it the right value now. What am I going to do here on the mustache? I think I'm a little too warm there on the left side, but it's okay. So the more you do these studies of the head, the better you'll be with still lifes, landscapes, hands, figures, room scenes, water scenes. I mean, this stuff is hard. If you get it right, then you move on to other things. And you'll get bored with painting the head and want to do other things. So yeah, it's interpretive, right? But I'll be honest with you, I could probably work off a black and white photo and not have to work off this color photo. And in the end, even though some things might be off, cover up the photo, and if you're a person who walked in and just saw the painting, you would say, oh, great painting, but they don't know what the model looks like. He's an interesting character. He's got this long beard. Is he a biker? Is he an apostle? Isn't he a saint? Or is he a vagrant? Or is he just a guy who just likes having a long beard? There we go, working on the beard, softening some things, not as important. Oh, that got a little dark. That was too dark, went lighter. Soften an edge there. Brought his eyebrow down just a little bit and darkened and cooled that area down. Shaping that area a little better. Soft. Anything within the form, soft. Soft. Except for that cast shadow on the nose where it starts. You see it's kind of firm there. Okay, so I'm touching up the nose, softening some areas. Going back to that cheekbone. Now that's a plane change, but it's a soft plane change, and that's what I'm doing. I'm softening the edge. Remember, all edges are soft. Keep them soft. Going back to the other eye, gets a little darker here. Why did I make that darker? Not only because the reference may show it that, but it also brings the nose out. And that area is the firmest part of the nose. That's where the bone meets the cartilage. Reworking the cheekbone there, getting a little darker. Coming to the end of this demo. But you'll see every little thing I do for a reason. And what that is, I went darker on that cheek on the left side of the painting. It just models the form more. Beard's not as important. It was about the eyes, but then I added the rest of the face. Little touches here and there. Now you notice you don't see my hand on the brush. I keep it farther back just to get a softer brush stroke. Does some of the blending. There we go. I was hoping I did that. It needed something a little better, a little more. And one more touch. Thank you guys. Hope you have a good one. Hope you learned something. Appreciate it.